It's just us. 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 It's just us.
Well, today I'm excited, man. Welcome to It's Just Us. And I'm excited. The person that I have sitting with me today, he is a father, a husband, worship pastor, a writer, a creative, a producer. He has a myriad of talents, but we have none other than Chase Wagner.
Grayling, what's up, man?
What's up, my guy? How are you?
Thanks for hanging today.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming through, man.
Of course.
I'm so excited. There's so many things I want to personally fan out and talk to you about, but I like to start these conversations with something easy.
Yeah.
What's your go-to coffee order?
Ooh, man. Okay, lately I've been treading dangerous waters. I've been into this vanilla cold. What do they call it? Protein cold foam.
Huh. Okay.
At Starbucks, they do now.
I haven't had it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, and so I usually get an Americano, a black Americano, a tall Americano.
Yep.
But lately I've been putting on the vanilla cold foam protein.
Okay.
And it's like a snack.
Yeah.
It kind of fills you up a little bit.
Like
so it's a coffee and a snack.
Wow. A
little
double vibe.
What's your go-to?
My go-to, I do the same. I've done the same thing everywhere. Almost every coffee shop I've gone to is not a vanilla iced latte, a honey and lavender iced latte.
Ooh, that's great too.
I got hooked onto the lavender and I haven't been able to let it go.
Yeah, that's great, bro.
Do you have a favorite coffee shop?
Man,
you traveled a lot of different places. So
ooh, yeah.
It could be multiples in different places, different cities.
There's one called Flat Track Coffee I really like in Austin, Texas.
Okay. Flat Track. Why do I feel like I've had that in Austin?
Yeah, you probably have had it in Austin.
Yeah.
Man, I really love Dancing Goats and Cafe Vita. It was like this company that I kind of grew up with in Olympia, Washington, but they're in Atlanta as well. So if you ever see a Batdorf Coffee, Batdorf and Bronson Coffee or Dancing Goats, they're kind of like an Olympia, Washington, Atlanta thing.
Yep.
There's one in Seattle called Cafe Vita that I loved growing up too. Yeah. So, but you know what? I'm not above Buc-ee's. Which and really? I mean Starbucks. I mean Starbucks by that.
Yeah.
I'm if
I thought you meant Buc-ee's.
Yeah, Buc-ee's. I know. But if you just want to go get some Buc-ee's, which we call Starbucks, that's fine too. I'm not above that.
Okay, I love it. I just had La Cabra in New York City.
Ooh,
for the first time.
How was that?
Also, it was my first time in New York.
How was that?
So fun. It's not enough time.
Yeah.
I went for a Laney show, and it was a very brief trip.
That's fun.
Yeah, we had so much fun. My wife and then another friend.
How fun. How long were you there?
We literally flew. Well, we flew into New Haven, Connecticut, because my wife's family is from Connecticut. So
out of Lakeland?
Out of Lakeland, yes.
Out of Avelos. How was that?
It was great. Easy.
Awesome.
Easy flight.
Awesome. We haven't done it yet. I really want to do that.
There's a lot of, I'm trying to think. They keep adding different destinations in different cities. But anyway, we flew to New Haven, spent the night there, and then took the train into New York City on Friday morning, Friday afternoon. Stayed with my wife's family in Manhattan.
Oh, fun.
And then hung out in Manhattan. Went to Central Park, and then went to Soho.
Dream.
Hung out a little bit in Williamsburg, and then the show was at the Barclays in Brooklyn.
How fun is that, man?
Yeah, it was a blast, man. We had great seats.
So it was what, like this little 48-hour kind of thing?
It was literally that. We did that, and then we left Sunday afternoon, evening.
Okay.
So we got to really kind of just grab, just soak up what we could, and we took the subway the whole time.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
New York's a beast, man.
Yeah.
It's a hard city to do. Like either you love it or you don't.
Totally.
It's a very intense.
Yep.
I tend to feel like kind of overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
But I love people that love it, and I respect
absolutely
so many people that just love it, and that's where they're from.
I don't think I could ever live there, but I could definitely travel there a ton.
Yeah. Have them. How was the Laney show?
Crushed. Oh my goodness, they did an arena. I've only seen them one other time, and it wasn't in an arena.
Yeah.
And they did a really great job.
Yeah.
In an arena setting. I enjoyed it.
I remember when I first moved here, 2012. That dates me. I moved from the West Coast here, and it was probably 2014-ish. I had hired this girl named Julie. Her name's Julie Chernick now, to be my administrator at SC Worship.
Yeah.
And Julie was like, I got this friend coming to town. He's playing a show in St. Pete with his band called Laney.
Wow.
And I was like, sweet. Yeah, his name's Paul. He was like, his name's Paul. He's from the Midwest, but he was hanging out with like a bunch of our church friends out in the LA area.
Yeah.
And so he called her before the show and was like, hey, could you get me some like black nail polish? And she's like, okay. And he's like, and she's like, we were hanging in the greenery, he painted his nails black, like wrote on his guitar.
Yep.
And then she was like, I had this feeling then that like this was going to be the last time I ever see him.
Wow.
And it was.
Wow.
Like from there, they just kind of like.
It just blew up.
They caught air.
Blew up, man. Blew up. And they're everywhere now.
Yeah, but he seems to have kept his faith. And like, I think like it's like a cool.
Yeah. I mean, it was
great music.
Great show.
Yeah.
We saw, what's the drummer's name? I'm blanking on his name, but we saw him and his wife at La Cabra. So
that's cool.
That we would be at the show. So it was a great, fun
That's
experience.
sick. Yeah.
Had a blast.
Jake.
Man.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jake Goss. So we had a lot of fun with that and just hanging out in New York City. Yeah.
That's cool.
Funny you share that story. I'd love to hear, and we can kind of go back to just your early beginnings. Were you always creative? Did you know worship music in this whole kind of flow of what you do now? Did you know that early on? Was that something that you...
Yeah, I played music. I've always just loved music my whole life. Yeah. I, in high school, was playing in like rock bands and emo bands and like just like garage bands, battle of the bands at school and all that.
Yeah.
And I had a great youth pastor whose name was Chad Veach, who was our youth pastor for 10 years in the Seattle area. And he was like, man, have you ever thought about just doing this for church? You know? And I was like, yeah, I'll come play electric. I started as an electric guitar player for the church. And so we're just playing electric guitar in a youth band. And then in college, we got like, and we're like kind of end of high school, my junior and senior year, our youth band was like, started to just kind of write our own music. And that was all Chad driving the bus. Like, Chad was like, man, you guys need to write and record. And we had a producer from Hillsong named Andrew Crawford came out and he taught me like a ton. And he came out from Sydney, helped us record records. So then by the time I was done with college, Andrew Gard, who was our college pastor at that same church, was like, hey, I'm randomly getting this job at this really small AG school called SCU. There's like 1,500 kids or something. Crazy. The website was like really said like be salt, be light. It was like kind of this like really, I was like, this is so odd. He was like, but Kent, who we knew from Northwest, was going down there to really kind of revamp the school and was like, they want to have a youth culture, annual live records, live recordings, that sort of thing. He's like, and you know how to do that? And I was like, yeah, I do know how to do that. Yeah. And he's like, well, I'll pay enough. You can marry your girlfriend. You can move down here if you want. And I was like, okay. And what was crazy is I was finishing college in LA and I was dating a girl from Melbourne Beach here. Wow. So it worked out perfect. Wow. So she was like going back home. She's like, I grew up going to volleyball camp at Florida Southern. Like, so it worked out. Man, that was 2012. So that was kind of my journey with music. Yep. I do think, you know, I think just overall, I've always felt like a creative person, but I wish I leaned into it more. Like I started college as an international business major. And
what made you choose that? Or
because
what was
probably my grandpa.
Yeah.
Like probably like just like people that were just like, you need to make money, you need to like, do whatever.
Yep.
And like I just always was like, man, I should have just leaned into like art so hard. Like I should have just my whole life. Like, and that's kind of, we can talk about that, but that's kind of what this album's about. It's called You Change the World by Being Yourself.
Totally.
I think the more I can push my kids in the creative direction, if that's who they are, you can have a great life being a creative person. You know?
I love it. I love it. Talk a little bit maybe how important you felt it was, or maybe you didn't know it in the moment, but maybe having like an encouraging youth pastor, encouraging youth culture, like all these different things that probably, even though you didn't study or pursue it directly, but you did in a way pursuing worship, pursuing creative ventures.
Man, I had a great youth pastor. You know, Chad was a great youth pastor to us. He was a youth pastor for 10 years.
Yeah.
So a lot of people see him as like a married Travis Barker and a Kardashian, do their ceremonies, of course. See him as like, and he is a mover and shaker, man. Yeah. He's got a great influence in that world. You know, and they see a guy with a lot of Instagram followers or whatever. But really, he was our youth pastor for 10 years. Yeah. picking me up, taking me to school some days, meeting me at 5:36 in the morning before high school to do Bible study, teaching me how to read my Bible at 14, 15 years old. So that's stuff that I can't repay him for. And he married my wife and I, and is just such a great dude. And we'll always stay connected. Yeah, no doubt.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. Moving forward, so you got married, you moved across the country, you left your family, you left all the things. Were you already like, what was coming out to Lakeland, Florida? I mean, it's a very different culture. Tell me a little bit about just the vibe of even kind of getting acclimated here, maybe for you as a person, even just being a newly married man at that point.
Well, it was hard to leave because we were seeing this huge move of God in the Seattle area still. And we had this thing called Foursquare United Generation, which was this youth movement that was happening at our church. And so thousands of kids coming, getting saved, coming to the conferences, getting baptized, putting out these records, doing live records. And I was still, when I went to school.
I was going to say, not to cut you off, but I feel like that's really normal now. At that point in that time, it probably wasn't
no doubt.
Frequent and as consistent.
No, and people didn't know how to make records. Like people didn't know how to like I said, we had to kind of learn from the Hillsong guys.
Yeah.
And so it was a really special thing. So for us coming out here, it was actually a really hard decision because even when I finished I finished at Biola University in LA, I was flying up constantly to Seattle to be a part of what was happening.
Yeah.
But there was also this reality of, Chad had Georgia and we didn't know. And Chad was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. He ended up stepping down as our youth pastor after 10 years, going on staff with Judah Smith in Seattle before he planted Zoe. He did a season up there.
Yep.
So there was kind of this idea of like, man, we didn't know what was going to happen. And I was coming from LA, right, where my friends were paying $1,500, $2,000 at the time for a studio apartment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then I can move to Lakeland and I, for less than $1,000, have an rented upstairs, downstairs condo for 3-bedroom. Yep. Then, so I was 22 at the time. I bought my first house at 23 for $90,000.
Wow.
So and then everything kind of, what happened in Seattle and what happened in LA over the next 10 years of going, I could have never built my wealth personally
for sure.
for me and my wife, the way that we were able to do that here.
Yeah.
And we were able to build a life for our family. And so as though Lakeland was a different place, one, we saw the potential.
Yeah.
It's blown up. There was some artists already here. Like this area was kind of ground zero for like the emo thing back in the day with guys like Aaron Marsh and Copeland and Ann Berlin and Under Oath. And like so there was already kind of this music thing that I felt really drawn to from the time I was a kid. But we were able to just build a life here. And I knew that couldn't happen
for sure
necessarily the same way in Seattle or LA. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's a great point. That's a good practical component to, thinking about even coming from a place where you felt connected, you had family, you had friends, you were doing really cool things, you were seeing a crazy move of God. But from a practical standpoint, you and your wife were thinking about how do we really think about strategically? How do we set ourselves up for success? I think I'd love to hear you talk a little bit more about that. Just from I think sometimes in spiritual spaces, you kind of don't think about some of the practical components of life.
Yeah.
And that's not always, obviously, sometimes the move of God is like, hey, let's stay here. We trust God. We'll figure it out. But there's also some times where it's like, I feel like there's a kind of practical leaning that we should be following. Like,
no doubt.
This makes sense. I
no doubt.
Like there might be some helpful context for some young guys.
Sure. Absolutely,
some
man.
Young women, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. And something I say all the time is first get out of debt. Work as quickly as you can, get out of debt. And obviously, I think school debt is one thing that I kind of think is sometimes worth it to go into. If you want to go study something, go to the right school.
Absolutely.
Same with a mortgage. But other kind of debt, I'm talking credit card debt, things like that. Get out of that as quick as you can. And then I would say always live under your means.
Yeah.
And that's something that we still do.
Yes.
We always have extra.
Yeah.
Living below our means, always tithing.
Yes, come on.
So I didn't do this until maybe year 4 into our marriage, maybe, where we were like, we're going to actually give 10%. And I had preached in taught in church and taught like, and I'd always say, tithing isn't like a genie. Like God's not just going to give you, multiply what you give him, and it's going to give you double back or whatever. And because I was like, it's just more about honoring God and whatever.
Yes.
Then when I committed to it, I'm pretty sure our finances about doubled that year. What my wife and I were bringing in.
Wow.
So I think maybe, and I'm not saying that's going to happen to you, but I'm saying that's something God did for me.
For sure.
And I think it's also, there's probably something super practical about it, about learning to live on less.
Yep.
To where we just have more than what we need. Then I would say house ownership. If you can make that happen for you and live maybe in a smaller spot than you'd want to, but that's how Paige and I have probably made the majority of money in our life. Isn't from the church or from music. It's been from real estate.
Sure.
And some of the most money in our sorry, we're talking so much about money.
No,
this is where we went.
I love this. I love this.
is buying and selling. We've bought and sold over the last probably, like, just personally for us, we've lived in 4 or 5 different houses. We've made money every time.
Wow.
And so it, like, then we've now have rentals in town, rental in Austin, Texas. Like, there's places that we love. And so I would say that's like, if you can learn to make money for you. And so that's just stuff I would,
I love
generosity, living underneath your means.
I think that's helpful, man. I love that you talking about, and I don't want you to feel weird, because I want some of the practical components I think are helpful and important. And I think from a ministry standpoint, I would love to ask maybe how much even just of you guys living like that frees up your capacity, and just you're not necessarily always thinking about a dollar amount connected to what you feel called to.
100%. Yeah, that's been huge for us, man. And of going like, so my wife was a missions major in college, and has traveled the world and with doing missions over to all kinds of different continents, and I, ended up being a communications major, but always a minor Bible, always just passionate, like missionary type minded person. And so that's always been our call, and that's always been like, we planted this church, Grace City Church, 10 years ago, and like just trying to maximize that to the utmost. And so money's just always kind of been the secondary thing. But I think when you live on mission, like, I think while my wife does so well as this real estate broker now that has so many real estate agents under her and all that, is she's there to help the people. She's not here to have a killer quarter. Right. What's your quarter one? What's your Q1? What's your, it's like, that's not how she thinks. Like, okay, like Grayling and his wife, maybe getting a property. Like, how can I help them? What's going on in their world? What are they stepping out of? What kind of bad situation? Or like, she's meeting with these people in their most vulnerable moments of their lives. A lot of times, of like a divorce or something happened, or they're downsizing, or they're making a risky move. So she wants to step in and like be awesome. So I think when you do live on mission, like God blesses you, and you don't chase the money thing. You know what I mean? It's like that's a hollow. Like, I think when you live on purpose, because I have a lot of friends and people a lot of people on my wife's side of the family that retired like when they were really young. But what they didn't have, and they've told me this to my face, is like guys that like retired in their 30s and stuff like that. They're like killer business guys. But they got, dude, I had no purpose. You love what you do, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you got to keep doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I think just living on purpose, there's no price tag to that. And so that's been huge for us in ministry. You know what I mean?
I love that. I kind of want to switch gears a little bit, and you, like me, grew up in church. You've seen probably a lot of great things, amazing move of God's. I want to talk about some of the just funny, goofy moments. Maybe you've seen. I mean, we can even talk about in just your context now. 10 years, which 10 years with Grace City, but I mean, you've done you've had a lifetime of ministry so far. Even you're a young man, you and your wife both are young people, but you've been in ministry, working at that capacity for such a long time. And what are some funny things that you have seen? Whether it's on stage, off platform, like, what's just some funny?
Well, here's the thing about the church, right? It's like, it's just a bunch of humans being humans.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So just like anywhere. So it's like,
yes,
you're gonna have like awesome. Sorry. You're gonna have people, like being awesome. You're gonna have people being not awesome.
Yeah.
I've said a lot of dumb stuff, and I've put my foot in my mouth like so many times. Like, I think probably my worst thing I've ever said on the microphone. We have a guy coming to conference this year named Jabin Chavez.
Powerful.
Jabin used to be a worship leader.
Yes, the man is,
and he very gifted dude. And he came to a first chapel, our Monday night chapel at SEU, as a worship guest.
Okay.
And I'm introducing him. We're going in the first song. We're going into like Praise Him, which was like a Hillsong song at the time. We're going in, and I'm introducing Jabin, and in my head I wanted to say, let's make some noise for, but I also want to say, let's show some love for. So I said, what's up, everybody? Welcome to First Chapel. Let's make some love for my guy, Jabin Chavez. That was the worst. That was probably the worst thing I've said on microphone. But I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff too, man. I've heard like preachers say werewolves are real, vampires are real.
For sure.
I've heard like, just seen some crazy stuff. But like, you got to take.
Too.
I'm sure you can relate.
There's so many, man. I feel like there's like stuff. It's some things you just don't even. It's things that it's not even what people say. It's just sometimes what people have done.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just certain things getting on and off stage. Or I remember one time. I think I was probably like 14 or 15, and somebody was basically doing offering, and I think he either got fumbled in the moment, like. It's like one of our leaders or elders or something. It's like he got fumbled and then like literally on stage, like wasn't really choking, but he was like, I need water.
Oh no.
And it was like, he was like,
oh
like
no.
coughing. But he was like, but he definitely hadn't gotten like,
right.
He wasn't choking. I think he just forgot
right.
his thoughts.
Just kind of an awkward moment.
Cut it full awkward.
Just awkward.
Like, I don't even know how he got through. I think he just prayed out and was like,
Andrew has this saying where he says, like, church a lot of times can be like the asylum for the socially unkept or something like that. He says something like that where it's like,
you got to get that quote.
Yeah. The asylum for the socially inept. Like sometimes it can become this place where it's just a lot of the most awkward people get together to have a home, and that's fun.
Yeah, it's so fun.
It's an honor to be a part of it.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
Man, I'd love to hear maybe even just from you. So you've done music like a long time. Of course, it's been a part of your just your experience in being a worship pastor. But there's I'm trying to figure out the best way to ask this, but I feel like there are people who sometimes confuse maybe what you do as a worship pastor and then also what happens in the industry. And sometimes those roads cross, but I think there's a lot of people maybe who are like, is it real? There's an industry behind it, blah, blah, blah. People are getting paid and but I think it'd be good to maybe even just hear from your thoughts, your perspective of those worlds. Obviously, again, this is not just, do what you do for a paycheck, but I think because of the social media and what maybe people see and hear constantly or
no doubt. Well, no one's making money in Christian music. That's the first thing.
Go. Boom.
There's probably a short list of 20 people who are on the top writers in CCLI that are making money.
Yeah.
Everybody else is making ice cream money. That's what a mentor said to me in the industry, actually an industry mentor.
Yeah.
That is saying, hey, if you stick with this and you do this, all this publishing and all this stuff is coming, like, you're going to get a little bit of money every month to like take your kids to ice cream. And that's exactly what's happened, which has been awesome.
Yeah.
And I think, because what's hard is I'm really, really blessed to sacrifice and be a part of Grace City Church as the worship pastor and really pour my life into that and my time and all that sort of thing. But that also gives me like a steady paycheck.
Yep.
Some insurance.
Absolutely.
Some sort of things where I'm with some other friends and that I won't say their names that you wouldn't believe would be struggling financially. You wouldn't believe it in the industry.
Right.
But they're stressing about their insurance. Yeah. They're stressing about sending their kids to college. All these, like, and I'm talking legends in the industry. So part of it is like no one's really making money unless you're kind of in that top tier. And so you kind of don't have to. You got to go after your calling.
Yeah.
You have to do it. Be like, man, I'm called to this.
Absolutely.
And I always felt like, even when we came out to do the SAU thing, like if we could just have this cool kind of campus energy where kids are creating, and I get to write songs like with the students, and like they get to write original music, and kids are getting kind of saved and baptized, and kids are coming from other college campuses from Monday night services and getting saved and baptized. Like that's the win.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until then we put out our first record. It went number 2 on iTunes at the time. This was pre-streaming. Went number 2 on Christian iTunes. People from Nashville started calling. Okay, so then the industry comes in.
Right.
But I wasn't in it for that.
Yeah.
I was in it for just cultivating something cool on campus. And same with Grace City then, right?
Yeah,
so then it's like, I was like, man, if we could have this church that's, I don't know, 800 to 1,000 people, and kind of like, so people would want to come, but we could write original music and not just do it for 18 to 22 like at college, but do it for 14-year-olds to 60-year-olds, and like push creativity out of people. And that's why we got into it.
Yeah.
But then like our first song that we ever recorded with Grace City was called Living with the Fire.
Yeah.
Jesus Culture. Yeah, Jesus Culture picked it up.
I was still around them times.
Yeah, it was nominated for a Grammy.
Yeah.
So that was all the stuff that like, then the industry's there and, reaching in. Yep. But all that stuff was secondary.
Yeah.
All of that was like, no, we just kind of wanted to create something really pure, and kind of have, that was kind of the heart of it. Yeah.
No, I love that. I think that's great context. And I feel like, at least for me, and maybe even others, you can tell when something's built organically, right? You can tell when people are caring about something beyond, just getting paid for it or getting paid to do something.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think, that's something that I feel like you've exemplified, something that
Thanks,
SEU
man.
and some of the team and
Thanks, man.
Grace City Worship is exemplified for sure.
Thanks, bro.
Talk to me a little bit, man. You obviously just dropped a new album. I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Before we step into that specifically, what's your process when it comes to writing, writing for yourself, writing for others? Because I don't know if other people know, but you write for other people outside of Grace City music, outside of Chase Wagner.
Yeah.
What is the process like for you as a creative and also as a writer when it comes to writing other songs?
So writing for other people, a lot of times is co-writing spacing in studios. And so that's going to Nashville, getting in a room with a producer, top liner, which that means like someone that comes up with melodies, and the artist. And then usually we're in there for 3 to 4 hours and write a song, and either it flops or it rocks. And a lot of times it flops, but a lot of times you can get something awesome. So we do usually a session in the morning, session in the afternoon, and when we're in Nashville. But I love that part of my life. That is a part of my life. Got to be a staff writer at Integrity Records for some years. I was a staff writer for Capital Christian Music for 2 years, which was awesome. And then from that deal transitioned into being a writer for Jesus Culture at the moment. And they're kind of in this awesome rebuild season. And so it's been a really fun time to be a part of that. But, that's writing for other people. Writing for churches, just trying to gather those writers and the ones that are insecure and don't believe in themselves, and encourage them to write and get them in rooms with people that are better than them and set the table for that, light the candles, and you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like get them in the studios with the right people and get them leading the right songs on a Sunday where they could see themselves doing that. And that's all part what Grace City music is. And then my solo music, I started kind of a little bit after COVID. And that was like a totally different process. That's like, I'm watching Star Wars by myself at like 1 a.m. and like all my kids are asleep, but I'm like searching for this patch on my laptop at the same time, this synth patch. And then it's like, oh, this is a sweet chorus. And it's like The Empire Strikes Back and Luke's talking to Yoda. And then I'm like, we've got to write the song about that. Like how you feel about your identity and how and so then I wrote this song called Dagobah System that way.
I love it.
And then sent that track to my friend Tori Deshawn. He rapped on it. Like that's like a totally random process. That's like really fun of just like working on a track in a studio and then sending it maybe to a friend and then them sending it back and working on a track here, but sending it to my friend Bobby or David or whoever, and them making it a billion times better.
Yep.
So that's kind of how the solo stuff goes. So I that was a kind of a lot.
No,
but there's probably
great.
3 different ways that I write. You know what I mean?
That's great. That's great. Let me pull up this. I want to look at this album because there is. Yeah, I got a chance to listen to it. The album is great.
Thanks, man.
What was the inspiration? I mean, there's so many. I mean, I have a lot of questions, but what was the inspiration behind this album? What made you say, I want to, and what made you say, I want to put this out even at this time right now?
Felt kind of like, so I've been putting out some singles for the last 2 years, and it kind of started to feel like the end of that season. Mm-hmm. So I was like, let's put all the songs from the last 2 years of my solo stuff together. Let's end it with this song called Mind of Christ, that I wrote in this room with my friend John Wilds. And shout out to John.
Incredible.
And we wrote it in this room, and it was kind of this mental health song about us having the mind of Christ and how we have, like, through the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross, have access to his mental health. Like, kind of like this really deep topic, but really something that has been the theme of my life the last couple of years. Yeah. So I was like, let's take that song and let's write the sick intro track as well and put all those songs together. Yeah. So that's You Changed the World by Being Yourself. Came out April 10th. It's out now everywhere.
Yes, it is.
And that's kind of what that's about. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. How important, I mean, you spoke about it just now a little bit, but how, even kind of over the last couple of years, how important has it been to talk about mental health and even just kind of figure out ways to express yourself even in your own way?
Yeah, I think, try to stand on the promises of God of that we have a peace that surpasses all understanding through him. And all that is a lot easier said than done, though.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, I've found mental health through scripture, community, pastoral leadership, my marriage, doctors, talk therapists. It's a whole thing.
Yep.
And so sometimes it's easier to say, man, I have the mind of Christ, which I do, and I stand on that truth. There's also this idea of common grace that he's working through all sorts of things, even if they're not necessarily Christian. Mm-hmm. And so that's been the story of, I've had anxiety and depression, just in my family and people and so for me, it's something that I've dealt with really hard since I was probably 25. I'm 36 now. Yeah. So just been on that journey, and I'm just really grateful for a wife that loves me through it, a church that loves me through it, a pastor that loves me through it. And then I have a team. I have like a team of medical people that have really come to help me through it. And I think that all of that is the mind of Christ. Yeah. All of that is peace that surpasses all understanding. You know what I mean? And so I see Jesus in it for sure.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think that's important, man, for just for listeners and viewers. And I think we are all going through our process of life and figuring out life. And I think it's important just to be able to talk about that.
Yeah,
and share
no doubt.
That perspective and how it relates, even connects to your art and your expression.
No doubt.
Let's get into some of these songs, man. I think there's so many. I mean, you wrote, there's 10 songs, 10 tracks on here. You wrote a lot of this album. You don't have a lot of features, which I appreciated. Yeah. Was that intentional for you, or was it more like?
So who are the features on this? Yeah, the features on this are
you got Christopher Sincere.
Yes.
John Wilds. And your boy Tori.
And then Tori. Yeah. So there was probably a time, like right after COVID, again, like 2021.
What a time.
What a time to be alive. That I was like, man, like I was really looking at the Christian hip hop space, and I was very much like, if it's very interesting to me because it hasn't peaked yet. Yeah. Meaning like, who is the Michael Jordan? Who is the GOAT? Who is of Christian hip hop? Yep. Well, nobody. Yeah. Because I feel like it's still on this like upward trend. Yeah. And I feel like it's getting better and better. And at that time I was really like, man, I want to have some guys that like just don't sound corny on this stuff. Because I was just kind of making more, and I love hip hop. I'm a hip hop listener.
Of course.
And so for me, I was making some stuff like that on the computer, and I was like, I was listening to Donda, I think it was like, it was kind of that era. Yeah. And I was like, I want guys that sound like this. Yep. Not like, not what I'm hearing in the space. Yeah, yeah. And so I kind of went on a deep dive on Instagram, and I found a couple guys. I found a guy named Jay Monty. Yeah. And and I found a guy named Tori Deshawn. Yeah. At the time, Tori probably just had a few thousand followers on Instagram. Yeah. And Jay Monty is like this lyrical, like bars. Bars are bars. And I didn't really understand that he's like a legend actually in that space. It's been around for a while.
Yep.
And so I just hit them both up on Instagram. And Jay was like, yeah, let's hop on the phone. So we got on a call and just talked about music. And he's raising kids around the same age I am. And so we made the songs together called Say Something.
Yeah.
And his bars are just crazy. Yeah. And then, like I said, Tori was, so that was on my last record. But then Tori and I did a song called Gotta Find a Way. Mm-hmm. And he's just so musical. Mm-hmm. He's like, for him, it's like he's going to rap, maybe he's going to sing a little bit. Like his creativity is crazy. And then the ride he's been on like the last 3-4 years with Indie Tribe, and like he did a song with Forrest, and like him and Forrest did the same kind of slowed down, chopped up outro on this song that they did that we did on my song. So I kind of got a little offended about that. But no, it's fine. But like he's been on this crazy run, and yeah, man. So they're both inspire me a lot. And then I was kind of like, who else could I have that's like local? And Sincere is just the man. You know, he's here and he's been at our church and been through, and
shout out to Chris.
And so he's on it. And then John was here for a worship night at Wilds, and then I was like, oh dude, let's just write at my studio tomorrow. Yeah. And so he came here that next day and we wrote that song, and then I was like, yeah, we should put this out at some point. Let's go. And eventually it happened. Luckily the Bethel crew was awesome enough to make it happen too. And so yeah, it was great.
I love it. Yeah. I love it, man. Well, this album has been fun. I listened to it a few times, and I love that it's a combination. I feel like there's songs that are vibes, like you just throw it on. You can, obviously it's still encouraging. Then there's some very worshipful songs. Was the goal, what was the kind of the goal of, was it intentional to have different vibes musically on this album, or were you like, these are all the songs that we wrote, we're gonna just kind of compile these things? And
yeah, great question. So this is my second record. My first one I put out a little bit after 2020. Yeah. And I worked with this kid named David De Perez, and he's younger than me, and he's a producer, and he was like, dude, like, don't worry about genre. Yeah. Like, he's like, your era is like so much more pilled on the genre thing. He like talking to me as a millennial. He was like, I was like younger people, we just like kind of like all kinds of music. Like we don't kind of, because I kind of grew up with like, there's people that liked rock. Right. There's people like punk rockers. Yep. There's people that's like, oh, I listen to rap. I'm a reggae guy. I'm a whatever. A country guy. Yeah. Whereas now it's like the younger generation, I think, is obviously because of like tech. Yes. They're kind of just open. You know what I mean? So he was like, your voice is the genre, is what he told me. And I was like, that's so cool. He's like, your voice is the thing that ties this whole thing together. And so I was like, well, sweet. I'm just going to write music I like. And I love rock and roll. I love worship music. I love hip hop. Like, so I was like, I'll just go for it. I love it. And so that's kind of, been that. And it's also in a playlist world, playlisting world, it really helps. Okay. Because you can get a song on, workout beast mode, Christian workout beast mode, but you can also get a song on, Christian indie rock. You can also get a song on, and so it kind of can get your music out to more people too. So no doubt.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Last thoughts. Anything that you want to add? Anything you want to talk about? Share.
No, man. I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Being married now and living downtown. Dude, you're doing Lakeland right. A lot of people don't.
What's the wrong way to do Lakeland?
Well, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. No. But the wrong way of doing Lakeland would be like living not in Lakeland, but so far out of the city, and you still say you live in Lakeland. But like you live downtown. You live in a cool house in a cool street, for sure. Cool wife. You're still involved at church. Yes. So I just honor you, bro, for that. You, and you're doing Lakeland life right. And I'm just proud of the decisions you've made.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. No doubt. I appreciate that. Funny enough, people don't know my second year of interns was with this guy. Hey. And I learned a whole lot under him.
Hey, we had a blast.
Yeah, we had so much fun, man. This has been fun. Having a conversation, bro. Thank you for doing this again.
Anytime.
Thank you guys for watching, tuning in to the next episode.